Hello everyone, welcome back to Sujit Analytics. This is a continuation of SQL tutorials. In this tutorial, I'll be explaining DDL triggers. In the previous tutorial, we have discussed uh, after triggers and also instead of triggers. I recommend you to watch the tutorials and come to this tutorial. So let's understand what is DDL triggers. DDL triggers are response to DDL events like insert, create, drop, alter, truncate, grant, etc. These serial triggers are special triggers that fires automatically when database structure changes. These changes include commands like create, drop, alter, and etc. So when we perform any DDL event like creating a table, dropping a table, or modifying a table, these triggers automatically fire. Means they execute something. So let's understand what is the purpose of these triggers. So this triggers automatically audit database changes, like who made the structure changes, at what time they changed. So they create a separate audit database changes, and also they prevent accidental schema changes. So, so they will give information to the users when they modifying any database object or doing some operation in the database. And also it logs all the schema modification events into a audit table. When you're performing any schema modification like creating a table, dropping a table, that modification details will be stored in a separate audit table. This is the purpose of DDL triggers. Let's understand with the examples. It's easy to understand. Let's create a trigger which there is trigger.ddl events on database for create table, alter table, drop table. So this trigger I'm creating on database. You can create triggers on database level or server level. So when we create triggers on database, these triggers applicable only this specific database. What I'm doing is I'm creating a database, creating a trigger on this database for create table, alter table, drop table. So when any user perform these operations, this statement is executed. Create a trigger. There is already an object name DDL. Let's create event command completed successfully. So let's create a table in this database. So it's returning a statement, a DDL change occurred in the table. Because when we performing this create statement, it's automatically a trigger is firing and it is executing a DDL change occurred in the table. Now we are able to see two statements because this is statement done by the this event, and also we have another trigger in the database. That's why we have two triggers on the same database. That's why we are executing, we are returning two statements. A DDL change occurred in a table. A DDL change occurred in a table. That is, let's drop this dummy table. Now again the two statements are executed. A DDL change occurred in a table. A DDL change in occurred in a table. This one trigger action. This one trigger action. Because I have two triggers in this database with the same action. So you can also create triggers on server level or create login, drop login. So whenever user create a login, drop a login, so this statement is executed. This on server, this on database. This is applicable only to this current database, which is practice DB. Coming to this is auditing, like when the user creating a table or dropping a table, that auditing schema changes will be stored in a separate history table or separate audit table. What I'm doing is I'm creating a trigger on this database for create table. When the user create a table in this database, that schema details, the schema changes details will be stored in this audit table. The event data, like what is the event related information stored in this column, and this event time column. The schema change, when the schema is changed at that time, the time is stored. Let's create a trigger, drop in trigger, which is present in this table. Drop this. We create this. Create trigger. Trigger name is DDL underscore create table. Now command complete is sufficient. So this trigger is file for create table. So for that, let's create a table. I'm creating a normal table. Create table. Table is table name ID with name as varchar. Then create a table. Two triggers are automatically executed or fired. I executed these statements. A radial change occurring table. And also we have another trigger which is radial create table. So this trigger automatically inserts the event data into this audit table. Let's check the audit table. In the audit table, there will be information stored. The event data is the event data and this is the event time. 2025 10:26 p.m. 12:48. Sorry, in this today's date at 12:48 p.m. this event occurred. That event data stored in this table. The event instance, the create table, and the post time, server name, database name, login name. All the event schema changes data will be stored in this audit table. So what happening here is when the user creating a table in this database, this trigger is filed automatically and inserting the related data or like the event data, the schema changes data into this uh, audit table. Let's create another table, table 3. Again, the triggers are filed. Let's query. Okay, we have another event data stored. For this trigger, inserting the data into this table, the event time and the event date. So this is about DDL triggers. Simple words, these triggers are response to DDL events. Unlike uh, after triggers which execute after a insert update delay statement occurs, these triggers fires automatically response to DDL events. And that's all. I hope you understand. If you believe you learned something today, don't forget to give a like and share with your friends who are learning SQL. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Sujit Analytics. That's all. I'll see you in the next tutorial.